So yeah, a couple of questions here about recruiting. I know they had a couple of big time kids. Jordan Renaud was in this weekend. DJ Hicks was not here. I think I heard some commentary about him being here. He was not here. I believe Peyton Bowen was here. So I mean, I think the one good thing, and you know the the question here, Ryan, I wonder how this lackluster performance affects big time recruits that were in Norman tonight. You know what? I think it's just an um, interesting perspective when something like that happens, right? If you're a young kid, do you relish in that a little bit, knowing the fact that I have a chance to come in and impact this team immediately as a true freshman. If you come away from the game thinking it was lackluster, especially at the position that you play, right? But on the other side of it, does it impact? Hey, this team wasn't very good. I think it wasn't very good tonight, at least. The one thing that I think is a big time bonus for Oklahoma, Notre Dame is 0-2, and Texas A&M lost, so that's big for the Peyton Bowen sweepstakes. That really seems to be between Oklahoma, Texas A&M, and Notre Dame. Obviously, he's committed to Notre Dame, but he's been on this flip watch for a couple of months now. Jordan Renaud is still, I think, Bama's up the up the pressure a little bit on him, but still feel good about him being a Sooner. He's going to announce his commitment on the 19th of September. Those are the two guys that I know that are kind of near and dear. I wasn't able to confirm this, but I heard Ryan Yates might have been in town, but I know that he has recently kind of firmed up his commitment to LSU. But who knows with him, things not necessarily going well at LSU, particularly last week. So yeah, I think it's hard to tell, Ryan, in terms of what that looks like. But this staff is recruiting at a high level, and I think this team is going to get better as the season goes on. Now, whether this team is good enough to win a Big 12 championship certainly remains to be seen. But I think, like I said, at the very least, this team will continue to get better and better as the season goes on, for Oklahoma. But I think the one thing that you have to consider with the Big 12 schedule is that this conference is it's more even than it's ever been. I think, at least has been in a long time. I mean, you got a big one tonight with BYU and Baylor. Let's see how Baylor plays on the road. But as I mentioned, Texas, the Big 12. Let me just go to the scoreboard here for the Big 12, just in general. So Texas played about as well as you would have hoped. In that 2019 loss to Alabama, probably should have won the game. All things considered. Oklahoma State still up 27-17 over Arizona State with the ball. Then you've got Texas Tech winning their game in double overtime, 33-30. Kansas State 40-12 over Missouri. You've got Iowa State 10-7 over Iowa, and then certainly Kansas in that 55-42 victory over West Virginia. And so, like I said, it's as even as it's been in the past. And I think most people in the conference have traditionally had Kansas as almost like an automatic win, and it kind of looked that way early on. West Virginia got up to a 14-0 lead, 21-7, and then Kansas was just played extremely well late, kind of mid second quarter on throughout the rest of the game. So it's interesting. And I think from a recruiting perspective, next week is another big one. Obviously for Oklahoma, for Malachi Coleman. That's really between Oklahoma and Nebraska, and I think he's coming in for a visit mid-October-ish. I think I saw that the other day. So it'll be interesting to see how this recruiting class continues to end up. But I think Bowen will flip. I think Renaud is in a good spot, and I think OU is in a really good spot right now. It might take some time, who knows when this announcement's going to end up being, but I think OU's in a really good spot for DJ Hicks. Again, Texas A&M losing is was really profitable for Oklahoma in that fashion. So, and I think that's one of the things that you look at, where this team has some holes, on both defensive lines. I think you're not quite as dynamic as you would like to be. I think you've got some good solid players, right? But I don't think you've got any game changers, at least especially in the middle of that line. Jeffrey Johnson's a nice player. Isaiah Coe's a nice player. Um, Jordan Kelly's a nice player. But you don't have anyone as good as a DJ Hicks right now. That kid's going to be an instant impact player, day one starter wherever he goes. If he's in Oklahoma, he'll be on that starting defensive line next year without a doubt. So, but like I said, like there's some holes on this, particularly on the offensive line, where they've got to shore some of this up.